everybody to the master presentation on colonial and global history, the master trajectory colonial and global history with subtracts maritime history and heritage and post-colonial studies. My name is Bart Verheijen. I'm a teacher at the Institute of History in Leiden, and with me today are Tim van der End.
Hi.
And Merle van Lier, and I will first give the opportunity to them to introduce themselves. Tim?
Yeah. Okay. Hi, my name is Tim, and I follow the Colonial and Global History track from Leiden University, and I can talk to you about everything I've done the past few days, past few years, and an internship I did. If you have questions, you can reach me.
Yeah. And as Bart already mentioned, my name is Merle. I'm also a student of the Colonial and Global History track. I'm doing the research masters, and I'm also, if you're interested, the student ambassador for the whole history program, so also for the other specialties. So if you've got any questions, you can reach me through the chat, which is on the website of Leiden University, and I'll be happy to answer them there if you've got questions after the open days. That's me.
So, but first, let me give you a very short introduction about the master. What is it that we do about the master program? And I wanted to start today by showing you some hot topics, some recently debated topics in Dutch media that cover colonial and global history problems. Let me see if this works. Yes. So, the Dutch National Bank apologizes for its role in Atlantic slave trade. The destroying or the painting of statues of white old men that have been dealing with colonialism in our Dutch national past. Our Dutch Prime Minister formally apologizing for the Dutch state role in slavery and colonialism. Our Royal Dutch House investigates into the royals' colonial past. These, by the way, are all topics that are being researched currently at Leiden University. This is the panel of the Golden Carriage that the King and the Queen used to drive around The Hague on the most important political day of the year. And you can see here that the painting is depicting the motherland, the Dutch motherland, surrounded by colonial subjects. All of these images have been collected over the last, I think, 3 or 4 months, just to show you that the debate about colonial history, global history is debated quite a lot currently. So what is it that we do with these debates, and how do we deal with it from a research perspective? Well, at this master we focus on colonial and global history, and our mantra, so to speak, is global questions, local sources. We focus on the global circulation of people, of goods, and of course on ideas during the early modern and modern times. We combine a global approach of knowledge of globalizing societies with a deep sensitivity for local, vernacular agencies and contexts within which contexts take place. So we combine local sources with a transnational approach to colonial and global questions like empire building, colonization, decolonization, of course, modernization, globalization, always with a focus and a deep engagement with specific regional societies, and the impact of these colonial relationships on the metropole and in the colonies themselves. So this is kind of what we want to do as a mantra with this in this master. But recently we had, as a team of researchers and teachers, we had a crisis of academic creed, academic fate, because we realized slowly that every historical research is getting more global. So like even Dutch national history is doing more global research. So we're not looking into kings and queens and their own personal history and the imprint on Dutch history, but we're looking at different local and also transnational sources, even for national history. So we thought, okay, what is it then that makes this global and colonial master international and global? So we decided with a team of teachers to rewrite our mission statement, and I just wanted to show it to you. This is how it looks. Let me read it to you. The colonial and global history combines a deep curiosity of transcultural processes such as imperialism, decolonization, and globalization with critical historical research on regional societies in Africa, Asia, and the Americas. Our approach is profoundly empirical and includes the study of diverse primary sources, textual, visual, oral, material, and environmental. And our aim is to examine and understand the interaction between the global and the local and vice versa in the period 1450 and 2000. We work in partnership with various institutions in the Global South, and we hope to produce fresh historical and societal knowledge and generate a more inclusive understanding of the post-colonial present. We explore the circulation of people, commodities, values, and ideas, and their significance in the foundations of modernity, and how transnational, transoceanic connections were established, and why violent conflicts ensued that still affect the world we inhabit today. So, what we tried to do in this mission statement is put everything that we do and do research on and reflect upon on a daily basis into this mission statement, which was quite a fun exercise to do, but it's also a lot. But on the other hand, I wanted to show this to you because now you know that all these kind of things and all these different angles that we do this in Leiden, in this master. So we were quite proud of ourselves when we wrote this. And then somebody said, let's ask ChatGPT. And this is what came out. Not bad. It says, if you ask ChatGPT, rewrite like a mission statement for colonial and global master trajectory. It says, the mission is to unravel complexities of colonial and global history. I mean, it's a bit more vague. It's also a bit more... it doesn't say as much as we do, but still, and I'm happy because we threw all our thinking power into this mission statement, and ChatGPT still, at this moment, cannot do it as well as we do. But, I mean, if you publish this on the website, I think it gets quite somewhere.
It's okay.
Yeah. But okay, we're not fake. We focus on the mission statement that I showed you before. So let me now I've mentioned all these concepts, talk with you about the program. You can find this on this website. I will go into detail, but I just wanted to show you this website because all the information is here. If I talk too fast or we go too fast, then there's always a chance to read this back. So that's good to know. With all the courses that we offer, also described, and the staff that is teaching these courses. But I will go into detail about the program right now. So the master consists of a workshop of colonial and global history that focuses on non-European primary sources. So what we do in this workshop, that's part of the master, is that we try to grasp and try to understand how these sources work, how these work in a context of studying history, doing research on history, and how we are able to integrate these kind of sources that most students maybe from their bachelor aren't that familiar with, how to integrate them into the research. So this is one course that you will be taking. Another one that we offer is a literature seminar, which is basically an intensive study of the historiography. As you know, most research starts with a thorough study of the historiography, of a historical debate. And we offer different seminars that focus for a couple of weeks on a historical debate in the context of colonial and global history. There are weekly assignments for that, and you finish this course with a final paper of 3,000 words. But some of the examples of the courses that we offer, they differ, of course, every year. But some of the examples of this year are colonial citizenship, Archives, heritage, and post-colonial studies. So you learn about the historiography of those topics, and maritime history as well. There is another course that is more of the backbone of doing research on colonial and global topics, and that's the research seminar, in which you engage with primary sources and research writing. So next to studying the historiographical debates and also getting to know the primary source material and the options that are there, we also challenge you to write your first study, your first research. And the final paper is quite extensive, it's quite long, around 8,000 words, and you're really pushed by us, the teachers, to engage with primary sources of your own choice and try to learn and put this into a research. So it's about an article, like an academic article. That's about the size of the paper you have to write. And we really look for original research based on these primary sources. And some of the options, some of the examples of the research seminars that we have been teaching over the past year are Maritime Treasures. That's one. Asia in the Global Countercultural Imaginations, and the Politics of Knowledge along the Hippie Trail. Another one is Through the Eyes of Soldiers, the Memoirs and Diaries of the Indonesian War of Independence. And another one, a more global one, is A Culture and Conquest, the Impact of the Mongol and their Descendants. And on the right, you see Fanneke Siesling, who's a teacher at the Institute, who was teaching science in the Dutch Empire last year as well. That was also an option to choose from last year. I was teaching a course on colonial citizenship, in which I raised the question, why are citizenship rights constructed differently in the colonies than in the metropole in Europe? And I asked the students in this course to think about this question using 3 different layers or 3 different approaches, from a perspective of historical events, from a perspective of historical theory, also enlightened theory, so why are citizenship rights in Europe constructed differently than in the colonies, and what is the theoretical background or the philosophical background to this question? And of course the sources. We studied different sources in the Colonial Archive and showed how to approach this topic and answer this topic from different source material, which really gave insightful discussions. I really loved teaching this research seminar last year. So yeah, that is also a big part of the master. There are some optional courses that you can follow inside the institute, but also outside the institute. And you also have the opportunity to do an internship. And maybe this is then the time to ask Tim to tell him a little bit about the internship. Let me first ask you, how did you integrate the internship into your master program?
In the master program, there's space for optional courses, as you can see in the presentation. And there are a certain amount of hours that you need to put into your work and your work rhythm. And the university offers the opportunity to find your own internship. For the website, they can help you with finding an internship. And I found it myself based on my interest. So I was doing some research into cross-cultural cooperation, and I looked for that in my internship, and that's why I eventually arrived at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and there my knowledge on different cultural backgrounds and how to integrate colonial backgrounds into that was highly valued. And the university gives someone that helps you, that asks you if everything is going right, and hopefully the internship will go right. But I had a really great experience.
Okay, we'll get back to the subject of the internship in a minute. Let me first finish this presentation on the program. There it is. Tim did his internship at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Yes.
But it's also possible to do the internship at other institutes. And here are some of the most, logic ones to choose. But of course, a lot is possible. And we also encourage you to search and look for internships yourself. If you want to, if you see an opportunity to make an addition to your study and to your master, because you also did an internship.
Yes, I also did an internship at a Dutch history television program, which was for me a dream come true because I'd been watching that program ever since I was little, so it was very cool to work there. I can go into much detail about the internship, but what I would mainly like to say is that it's not you don't have to do an internship, but I really encourage you, if you have the opportunity in whatever study you decide to do an internship, because it gives you a lot of practical knowledge and a better idea of what you can do after your master's. And for history, that's very much true as well. So definitely, if you've got the opportunity, even if it's maybe not obligatory, do an internship, because, well, you learn a lot and see what is possible after your studies.
What was the name of the television program?
Andere Tijden.
Andere Tijden. We all love that one.
Yes, we do.
At the end of the program, you write your master thesis. Of course, you're free to choose a topic, and it's quite clear, I think, from my presentation that there's a lot to choose from. But here are some recent examples of successful master theses. I'm not going to read them all to you, but maybe you can have a look. I think this presentation will also be uploaded on the website, so you can.
Yes, it will be next week. Then you probably Wednesday somewhere. Then you can find it online with the recording and everything.
You can also look on the website of the institute of this master trajectory, and you can also find more examples of research, current research, but also of recent thesis subjects. They maybe inspire you to choose a topic, but you're totally free to navigate through all the primary source material and to navigate through all the different debates to choose your own master. Did you choose one?
Yes, I am starting my thesis at the end of the month. So I'm really interested in cartography, and I'll be researching Dutch-Moroccan relations in the 17th century through cartography. I'm in very early stages, so I don't have anything very interesting to talk to you about yet, but that's what I'm going to be researching.
And why is Leiden a good place to study cartography?
Well, we've got a very beautiful and very, very big collection.
No, it's true.
At the university library, and yeah, it's it's amazing to go there, and it's so cool to get your hands on the actual sources and see them in real life. So yeah.
I actually should have started with that, but Leiden is a great place to study these topics because our library actually has all this primary source material.
Yeah, so it's very easy. So it's like a 10-minute walk from where I live in Leiden, and then you can just go to the library, order them through the Special Collections website, and they deliver them to you, and then you spend, 20 minutes in awe, like, oh my god, I've got the thing in my hands, and then you get to the actual research. But it's very cool that you can just, consult them in the library.
And Leiden is also next to The Hague, where the National Archives are.
Yes.
And we even got more sources to choose from.
Yes.
So you can really research everything you want.
Yeah, we're going there with a class next week. So
Yeah.
Very fun.
Okay, we also offer a research master trajectory.
Yes.
Madeline, you're doing this one?
That's me, the research master versus the normal masters, very simply put, the normal master is a 1-year program, the research master is a 2-year program, and you get some extra theory, you get some extra research that you can do. The main courses, so the literature seminar and the research seminars are the same, so I do the same as Tim, for example, course right now. I have to meet some extra requirements, but it's not a lot. But we get a historical theory, for example. They teach you how to develop research proposals, which helps you if you're interested in doing a PhD maybe, or just a career in academia. It really helps you to get, the skills that you need. The tutorial is for your thesis, so it's a one-on-one tutorial that you do with your supervisor to get the basics down for what you want to research. So for me, I'm reading a lot of books on cartography with my supervisor. So that's what the tutorial is all about. What I really enjoy about the Research Master are the research schools. You can choose from a lot of different options, and it's very cool because you can go to different universities. I even went abroad to Belgium, but I went there for a spring school week, not a semester. Would have been cool, but it was a week. And you just, you can research a lot of other stuff, and the research school courses are very interesting, and they offer a lot of interesting possibilities. And your thesis is much bigger, which for me was also the reason to go for it, because I really enjoy doing research and writing. So if that sounds like something you're interested in as well, then I definitely recommend doing the Research Masters. It might sound a little bit scary because you have to meet a couple of criteria to be eligible for the Masters, but I encourage you to enroll anyway and see how far you can get because sometimes there's a little bit of leeway. They can help you figure something out if you don't technically meet all the requirements. So
Yes.
if you're interested, or send an email and see what's possible.
So, and most of the courses that you follow with the regular master students, but they do have extra requirements.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We have to, with the other 2 research masters in our class, we have to do the one of the lectures on our own.
You have to give an extra presentation, I believe.
Something like that.
Something like that. So
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, go do it. It's fun.
Meet our staff. Okay, here we are. These are the people. I put them in this card all over the world. I'm in Europe because I did my PhD in Napoleonic history. But after that, I lived in Indonesia and Myanmar in Burma for a couple of years. So I slowly moved into global and colonial history. And for me personally, I can say that because I came from national or European history, it has been really an eye-opener. Because I'm totally convinced now that it's really important to look at historical problems from a global perspective. Even questions about the national history should be approached from a global perspective. And I'm not the only one who thinks that. Our royal house also thinks that because they have started, as I showed you at the beginning, paying for research that is being conducted at Leiden University currently, but research on their colonial past and their colonial ties, and their role in the global world, basically. So this master, what I want to say is this master really gives you a new view, a new perspective on historical problems that other programs don't necessarily give you because they tend to focus more on national and European history. Even though they expand, this is the only program that starts from the local global source perspective. So, if you have any more questions about this program, you can ask them now, or you can always, if you think about them later, email our coordinator of studies, that is Dennis van Leeuwen. This is his email. You can also find it on the website. He is really nice. He is always willing to answer all your questions, so please don't hesitate if you think of questions later. I will take your questions now, but maybe Tim, would you care to just elaborate a little bit more on your internship? So because because your internship is you're a student in colonial and global history, but your internship is at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Yes.
So what do you gain as an historian from working there, and what do they gain from you? Maybe more importantly, so why do they need like this colonial and global knowledge that historians can provide them with?
Well, what I thought in my internship was how can we detect the past and the past events in current ways of interaction between different countries and different peoples. And that's what I certainly found. And the master has given me a new perspective on how to interact with the world and how to view the world through time. And what the internship gained for me was a fresh perspective, because you can train everyone always to have the perfect answer to different questions, and but you only through research and a broader perspective on life, which I hopefully, and I think I did, gain from the masters. I did understand the world a little bit better, and that sometimes gave a new perspective on things, and gave also more thought through answer.
Yes, and maybe you're not as much hesitant as others to interact with other parts of our world.
No,
because you're used to it from a historical perspective already.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
Because you're during your internship you looked at places in different African countries?
Yeah.
And also in Asian countries?
Well, although I will finish my master's in Indonesian history, for my internship I mostly interacted with African countries, but the place in the world that the Netherlands occupy is, to a certain degree, it overlaps with
Yes.
developing countries, and that's where I did my internship for the most of the time, and there are certain strategies that you can use and implement, and that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs does that in these interactions. And yeah, I found that with the African countries, and that was really interesting.
Okay.
Cool. I see we've got a question. Or do you have questions you want to ask? Sorry, I interrupted.
No. There's a question. Shall I read it?
Yes, I think.
The question is, can you apply for this master if you have a bachelor degree in cultural anthropology? Anthropology, no, not automatically.
I think it would be wisest to email Dennis, as we mentioned,
Yes.
because there are possibilities. It just means that's the email. You're not automatically eligible, but it could certainly be possible. It just depends very much on what courses you took.
Exactly, but your file will be judged by Dennis
Yes.
and by committee, so you're not automatically.
No, that's true, but he can give you a little bit of an
Exactly.
insight into what is possible. So I definitely
Yes.
email him.
Yes, do that. If you're interested, please
Email him.
Dennis and he will make a call.
He's very fast with his answers usually, so
And he knows everything.
he knows everything.
He's even helped me a lot
He's great.
in my studies.
Oh, interesting.
So what is the gender balance and the Dutch international balance of students and staff in this program?
I think for gender, it's a very accurate representation of how we are today. 2 guys, 1 girl. I think that's usually the case in the seminars that I've taken, at least, for Colonial, Global, and Maritime History.
I would say it's almost 50-50 for this year.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I counted in our Maritime Treasures seminar, it was about 70-30, sort of.
Yeah, that's one example, but it depends on the course you take.
True.
Because I also have a course where the majority is female. And the international balance, I would say that's maybe a fifth of the students are international. Yeah.
Again, I did the introduction this year, a couple of weeks ago, and it was like, I think 40% was international.
40%.
Yeah,
So
quite a lot.
the study is in English. We follow one, but the majority of the courses will be in English. But I've hardly noticed the language barrier.
Yeah, there's and for international, like you mentioned, it differs from course to course. I've had classes with people from Singapore, Italy, the UK, the US, a lot of different countries basically. But yeah, it differs.
And Steph, you can check on the website.
Yes.
But I think it's also quite 50-50.
Probably.
Most people have a Dutch background, I guess, although it's changing. But most of them, they have lived and studied and worked in countries all over the world. So they know the archives in different countries quite well, and they know the research tradition well. And more importantly, we have ties with universities all over the world. So if you're interested and you want to interact with their research programs in African countries, but also in Asian countries, South America as well, that is possible in this master trajectory. The knowledge and the connections are here.
Certainly.
I want to focus, another question, I want to focus mainly at post-World War II history and the decolonization of Africa. This program is right for me? Yes, it is, because we have a part of our program is also directed towards decolonization history and also decolonization of African countries. The knowledge is here, and of course it's a really important topic right now in current debates, not only in history but also in current political debates. So yes, this program would be right for you. Okay. Something to add?
No, I agree, but I'm mainly 17th century history, so maybe
17th century is also
early
possible.
modern history is me.
Yeah, that's also my expertise, but I know for certainty that there are courses especially for African history and also decolonization and post-World War II history. So you'll find everything in the syllabus if you come across it, but African World War II and decolonization is part of our program,
Yeah, for example, I did take a course now, I remember, about the decolonization war in Indonesia.
Yes.
So that's maybe not Africa, but still that time period.
Yeah.
So you should be fine.
Yeah, so one more thing, the people that wrote the big decolonization study of Indonesia that that appeared 2 years ago, still one book appeared this week, or 2 books from that research. But most of it was published 2 years ago. Most of the people that did the research, they teach at Leiden University because we have the knowledge about the wars of decolonizations here. So if you're interested in that kind of topic, please join.
I think this is a question for Tim and me.
What made you choose this master program over other history programs at Leiden? What is the one thing that you like the most about this program?
Well, what attracts me to the program and what attracts me above other programs is the abundance of sources and really the broad availability of professors that give different courses. So if you want to learn about the West Indies, it's possible. If you want to learn about the East Indies, it's possible. If you want early time frame or late time frame, it's all possible. But for every niche, there's also a professor that really he is the I can't find the word, but the very best.
The expert.
the expert. And I had quite a niche, so early colonial periods on Java, and for that there were actually more than one experts, and I got really great results and experience with those professors, and that's why I was attracted to this program. And the second thing, as said before, there's an abundance of sources, and I'm really interested in primary archival sources. So I'm often found at The Hague in the National Archives, which I research old handwriting from ships and ship logs, and I can do that here, and I couldn't do that anywhere else. So.
Yeah, I agree. And for me personally, I also like maritime history, and we've got a great courses and great teachers for that specific expertise. So that's why I chose it. And what I really like about Leiden, I also did my bachelor's here, and I sort of wanted to go to a different university, but I stayed here. I really like it here, mainly because of the teachers. Teachers are always willing to help you. They have great ideas. They send you emails if they found a job vacancy that might be interesting for you. They're very involved with you and what you're trying to do and your studies and everything. So I think that's very great. And that's what I really like about the program, or the history programs in general in Leiden, about the department basically.
You're so kind. Is the internship one semester or one block?
Well, within the place within the program that is attributed to the possible internship, it is a certain amount of hours, and I don't know exactly. I think it's 10 ECT.
You do have to. It's at least 10 EC, which is 280 hours, but you can extend it. I did 20 EC, but that's maybe because of research.
I did 25 to 30, so I was doing an internship for a half year, and that was not partially within the program, but you can pick and choose what you like, as long as it is 10 EC. And I really liked the opportunity that I was able to choose for how long I want to stay and how much time I want to attribute to the internship. Yeah.
1 year and 2 years.
What is the difference between master 1 year and 2 year? Well, the difference is the 1 year master is a regular master program, and the 2 year
is the research master. So that's the one I'm doing. Basically, it's more research. You get a little bit more theory behind what you're doing. So, yeah, for example, the historical theory course. So like philosophy of science, that kind of stuff is covered there. So it's more in depth and also about the history of the field itself. And just more research, more room to pursue your interests, I would say. And is there a difference between this program and Europe 1000 to 1800? I would say Europe 1000 to 1800, the name is a little bit misleading maybe, but it's mainly medieval history and early modern history. Yeah, but also very much medieval, which is what we don't necessarily cover here, medieval history.
No, not necessarily.
No, so I think that would be the biggest difference.
Well, yeah, and the part of the world.
Right,
you will
yeah,
research.
of course.
So that's what
Of course.
my first or second slide, that's what I wanted to tell you, is
Right.
that our main research interest is these local or global sources. So our approach to doing historical research in this master is different than the
Yes.
master Europe, because we don't have the tendency to always go towards the European or the national perspective. We have a tendency to always look at things from the global and
Yes.
the local perspective. That is the main difference in approaching the source material, and with that the historiographical debate and the research, historiographical debate. Sorry. More questions. Would you recommend contacting individual professors who have expertise in your area of interest prior to applying for a research master program? That is not necessary. You of course can look and see what the expertise of all the different professors is, because it's mentioned there. You can, of course, if you have an idea or you want to ask a specific question about that research, always try to contact these people. They will kindly reply to your email as well. But I mean, a master trajectory is also a program in which you learn and meet professors and teachers from different expertise and learn about their expertise in these courses. So you can always do that, but please also, I would also encourage you to just join and follow as many courses as you can.
Yes,
to your liking.
definitely, yeah. I think that's important. I agree.
Yeah, maybe outside your liking and you find something new.
Yes.
Yes.
I did that for a few things.
For example?
Well, I didn't necessarily know a lot about maritime history.
Yes.
And this semester I mainly chose courses in maritime history, and I learned a lot. Also, for instance, how the sea factors in global and colonial history, and what is the
ocean, the sea.
the ocean, yeah, and what is the impact of environmental history. And those are things I hadn't really thought about, and I do so now. So that was new for me, yeah.
Do students finish this is not a question, master program in 1 year? Is it worth to stretch the program to, for example, 2 years to acquire more experience? I mean, I would say more knowledge is always good. There is a possibility, to give a better answer to this question, to start in the master program and then go into the research master trajectory during the master program. But then you have to apply during your master trajectory to get into the research master.
Yes.
And there is...
You can do that, but it's a little bit difficult because you have to get really high grades. I think an 8 or something for your first essays.
Higher grades.
Higher grades. Higher grades. So my recommendation would be to apply straight away for the research master, so the 2-year program. If most students finish it in 1 year, it's very doable. It depends on if you want to do an internship, for example. Sometimes that can get in the way of finishing in 1 year because, well, you have to do working hours, go somewhere, and then it might become a little bit difficult.
But I would always recommend to apply for the normal master. If you're not sure yet, you want to do a 2-year master, and then during the 1-year master you can change into the research master trajectory.
Yes.
But do enroll in the normal master, because that's possible. It's not possible to only enroll in the research master, because if you then get rejected.
Yes, then you can't do the normal master either,
Exactly.
because then you've missed a deadline. So make sure that if you want to do the research master, also do the normal master.
Exactly. So when in doubt,
Both, basically. Stretch it. Depends on what you want to do with gaining more experience. It's also a financial question, probably.
Career perspectives.
career perspectives.
Well,
Important question.
we do not all end up as teachers.
No.
It is possible, but no, the career perspectives. I don't know the percentages, but what I have learned from working for half a year and talking to people and looking at my own chances and perspectives, I believe that the Colonial History Master and its students are highly valued. You gain a lot of research experience, but you also gain a lot of interesting techniques to acquire a lot of information. You can voice the information you have acquired, and you can present it very well. And those are all qualities that are highly valued in your career.
In a number of fields, right?
In a number of
large
fields,
number
yeah.
of fields.
Yeah, you can go into politics, NGOs. You can become a teacher, go into academia, like do a PhD, pursue that career, or work at a museum, for example, archives, banks, that kind of stuff. You can do a lot of things because, as Tim mentioned, it's about the skill set you you gain, use.
All
So-
governmental layers.
All governmental, basically. Yeah, a lot of politics and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people end up working for the government in different positions, but you don't necessarily have to. And on the website, I believe you can find a graph where all the percentages are listed, so you can see what are your perspectives. The only thing I can add is that from personal perspective and experience, we are valued, and we are highly valued sometimes.
Yes.
I have friends, I'm a bit older, but I have friends that work at banks as well. NGOs, they all studied NGOs, they studied history. But also in governmental and as teachers.
A lot of stuff.
So there's a lot you can do. I would focus on the expanding the knowledge that you find interesting during a master, not necessarily.
Yeah, maybe you get an internship and they offer you an interesting position. And
Yes, that
Well,
happens. Yes.
That has happened
an open
to me
mind.
certain of times, that a professor forwards different jobs
Yes.
and different internship opportunities, and even some jobs you can do after your studies. And it is up to you if you want to take those chances.
Yeah.
But
Another question.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
You
it's
finished?
okay. Yeah.
Okay. Can you study abroad instead of doing the internship in the research master?
Yes, you definitely can. Once the internship is not, you don't have to do it. You could also go for electives or courses from other MAs or history specializations. But you can also go abroad. It's a bit complicated because you have to organize it yourself. So make sure that you get on top of it very early on. Because there's a lot of deadlines to meet. You can apply for some scholarships, which I personally went abroad, so it is very much possible. And I also applied for scholarships successfully, but it is quite a hassle. So make sure that you get on top of that very early on.
You can.
Yeah,
And
you
we
can.
encourage this very much.
Yes,
And there are also people at the university that can help you
definitely.
Yeah.
with this. And like I said, we have connections with research institutes from all over the world.
Yes.
So yeah, it is. You have to organize it, and it's. But it's very much possible.
Yeah, if you're interested, for example, email Dennis and he can maybe help you with brainstorms or figuring out who to email.
And beside that, I think the website's quite
Yes.
clear. So I also researched doing my chances of doing an internship abroad. And although I did not eventually do that, I found it quite easy to see what was possible. And it's certainly possible.
Yes, definitely.
The question is, if I am mainly interested in the history of Asia-European relations, is it recommended to go for an Asian Studies Master, or can I focus on Asia in this program as well? Yes, you can focus on Asia in this program as well, very much. We have a lot of historians that know a lot about European-Asian relations from the early 15th century onwards until the wars of decolonization and also the post-colonial perspective and the post-colonial afterlife. So yes, if you want to study these relations from a historical perspective, that means using the historical sources to understand these relations. I would recommend you get into this program.
And what I might add is that this master really tries to provide a perspective that is not Eurocentric. So there's a lot of emphasis on different sources, and you can use local sources. That's like the basis of this program. And it really gives a broad understanding of those Asian countries, as I have experienced myself within my studies. So it's not only the study about, for instance, Dutch ships, but it's more about those interactions and about those countries you will be researching.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Nothing to add.
For the research master, next question. This is application requirements. It is stated, have sufficient knowledge of languages other than English relevant for study and research within the chosen specialization. Speaking a second or third language a must?
I don't think so. I think what they mean is if you're interested, if you're, for example, not from the Netherlands, but you want to research Dutch sources, you should be able to read those sources.
Yes.
Or if you're, I don't know, want to study Chinese history, something like that, and then you need to be able to have some sort of understanding of that language or the languages that are relevant for that period. You don't have to necessarily speak it because it's mainly written sources if that's that period of time. But of course, if you go more recent history, then you could go for oral history. Then I think they just mean if you really want to do some research on a specific region, it's nice that you speak the language.
And it means that formally you cannot study a language within this master trajectory. That's to say not for EC points, but you can of course go to the language school in Leiden University.
Yes, the language center.
Language center, and then you can study a language, but you cannot use this time that you spent there as credits for your master.
Yes.
So that's what this formally means. But yeah, if you want to learn a third or fourth or fifth language, please do. You cannot just. It's only that you cannot exchange them for EC credits.
And that we don't actively offer it.
No.
That's
no, but it is possible in Leiden. Yeah. Is there any fieldwork in the 1 year master?
Well, yeah, it depends. Well, it's not archaeology, so I haven't dug up any ships or bones or castles. But yeah, we do go, for instance, next week we will be going to the archives and we will be researching 17th century primary, for instance, ship logs and that are handwritten, haven't been touched for hundreds of years. We have had courses in cartography, and we've looked at ancient and more modern, cartographic work. So it's not only reading books and articles, but there's a lot of diversity in within the courses, and I think in that sense, yes, we do offer fieldwork.
Yes.
Several times a year.
Yeah, I agree. It's not like maybe for, I don't know, anthropology, for example, they really go somewhere for a period of time, but you can, I don't know. It's very much how you want to fill up your optional courses and that kind of stuff.
Yes, there are options.
There are a lot of options. That's basically the conclusion.
And also, if you want to make it part of your master thesis, then it's also possible.
Yes, that's true.
Are there courses in Dutch, and is it possible to write a thesis in Dutch? Well, It is possible to write your thesis in Dutch, but you have to make an agreement with your master thesis supervisor, because formally the master trajectory, like all the other ones in Leiden, is in English.
Yes.
But there are exceptions possible, but you have to make an appointment with your master thesis supervisor. You have one.
Yeah, we have. It's currently in Dutch. They asked at the beginning of the course if there were any non-Dutch speakers. There weren't, because we were handling Dutch sources. So now the course is taught in Dutch, but most courses are in English. Almost every one of them, only if the source material is in Dutch. And for the research masters, it's not possible to do your thesis in Dutch. There, they do expect you to write it in English.
Yes. But you can just make an agreement with your teacher about this, and a lot is possible. But
yeah, that's true.
Most of the master, like all the other master trajectories, are in English.
Yes.
Well, most of the sources you will be reading, as was probably part of your bachelor's as well, are written in English, because most academic work is written in English. And it isn't as daunting or scary to eventually write in English as you would.
You'll get the hang of it.
You'll get the hang of it. And yeah, it's quite easy actually. And but it is possible to write in Dutch.
And they do offer workshops, so if you're struggling with that, then they can help you out.
Yes. Question: can international students find a job part-time beside their studies easily?
Ooh, that's a difficult question, because I'm not an international student. Well, there are definitely depends on what kind of job you want. I think in the academia it would be pretty doable. Just keep an eye out for interesting job vacancies.
Yes.
The university has a career website, and there you can see if the different jobs that are listed are available for international students. The university has quite an extensive list of opportunities for international students. Besides that, you can also always find something in horeca.
Yeah, in a cafe or a
in
restaurant
a cafe.
or something.
People are needed everywhere, and most of the time people don't care what language you speak, as long as you do good work. Yeah. So welcome.
Try and see where you get.
Why should I choose this master in comparison to the city's Migration and Global Interdependence research program?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know much about that specialization, to be honest.
Okay, let me answer this one as a teacher. My experience is that in the different courses, there are like, what did I say, 40% of international students. And I've seen that's also the figure this year, which gives quite interesting discussions as well. So last year I was teaching this colonial citizenship course, and there were students from the United States, but also from Singapore, Indonesia. And we had this really interesting discussions based on their experience as well, which I would say is not always the case at this master.
Yeah, I think the best thing to do would be have a look at the course catalog, because the courses differ very much from program to program, and within the program you can select whatever you think is interesting in terms of courses. So that would also, for the Europe 1000 to 1800, to see what the differences are, definitely have a look at the course catalog, which you can find on the website.
Yeah, so our like we said, the research focus is different. Dealing with the source material is different, but also the students are more, I would say, international, and that gives a different discussions in the groups, which is really interesting. What kind of skills do I acquire following this master program? Students.
I think writing, reading, and that sounds very basic, but you like Tim already mentioned, you learn a certain skill set. You know how to process very large amounts of data in terms of reading a lot of articles, knowing what it's about, saying something intelligent about it, and presenting it in writing. And yeah, I think a lot of that sort of.
Yeah, and. What I learned is that the program has learned me that there are different ways to interpret the world and history, and how it is connected in all times, and it really gives a broad bird-eye view on human interaction, and that was very valuable for me. Besides that, on a more practical note, you learn to write on an academic level, and that is a skill set that is highly sought after, because more and more of the time people really can't write very cohesively and make arguments impactful, and we are learning that.
And from an international and I would say intelligent perspective, intellectual perspective, I would say that there is a historiographical debate about history that is not really tangible for European students, and it gets opened during this master trajectory because you really read books and articles that maybe are beyond the scope of what other master programs offer, because they're so globalized and directed towards other corners of the world. That for me was really the most interesting part of following this program, and also being part of the program as a teacher right now.
And also you learn how to use primary sources within research. You become a historian basically. In that sense. So that is also what we teach here.
Is it possible to do 2 masters? For example, combining this master with an anthropology master's? Yes, but it's quite difficult, but you can. Combining and making like a custom program, you should contact the study coordinator, because he knows best how to combine this and customize this. But it is possible. There are people doing 2 masters at the same time. It's tough though, but it can be done.
Yeah, I think this master alone can be quite intense at times. But if you want to go for the challenge, I can only applaud you. But it is doable, yeah.
The question is, do you also support fieldwork research, like oral history research in Africa in the 2-year master program? Yes, if that can be, but it's also a question of if you research, it can be done. So if you decide to write your master thesis on a topic that requires oral history research in Africa, as your question says, then yes, that is possible to do. We can make it happen, we can facilitate it together with your supervisors and other teachers. We can think about the best way to do this. So yes, I mean, oral history research is a skill set that colonial and global historians acquire, that they use in their research. So yes, if students want to do this, it is possible.
Yes, definitely. It's very much possible. And
yes?
I think that's the time we've got today. So I think we have to round off.
Okay.
I think, that's the point. If you get historians talking, then we talk forever.
We keep talking.
We're very enthusiastic about the program, if that wasn't clear.
I can do one more question really, really fast. Is it possible? Last one?
Last one.
And after the last question, you can send in your questions to Dennis. I would advise also to look at the website. And for everything else, Dennis is the man.
Yeah, or the Unibuddy chat, like I mentioned before, then you can chat with me and I can help you with any specific questions you might have from a student perspective, which might also be nice.
Yes. So last question, what kind of topics do students in this program write a thesis about? I had a slide about this, but that's okay. But it's basically
everything.
That you can think of from the 15th century until now, that uses and combines global and local sources from all over the world, and deals with colonization, decolonization, global interactions. So, to give an example, what do students write about the VOC? Quite a lot,
yes. I'm doing, like I've mentioned, on the Dutch-Moroccan relations in the 17th century through cartography. A friend of mine is doing research on fisheries, fisherwomen in Denmark and Scotland. Or no, he dropped Denmark because he didn't have enough he wanted to do too much, so he had to drop Denmark. But that's what he's doing.
Yeah, maritime history, of
Yes.
course. Also post-colonial questions, and also questions dealing with heritage, colonial heritage, post-colonial heritage. That's all possible within this program. So everything ranging from maybe old colonial history until global post-colonial interactions.
Yes.
Yeah, so between 1450, the Portuguese, till modern times, the 2000s. And if there's a niche or an interest in something, most of the time there will be a professor that can facilitate your research and can help you. And as said before, for most of the things there are also sources available, so you can be as creative as you want.
Yes.
Yes, as long as you remain academic about it.
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much. I think that's it. Thank you for all your questions. I hope we explained, enlightened you, and made you enthusiastic for this master program.
Yes.
On global and colonial history in Leiden. Thank you very much. And thank you as well, of course, Tim and Mel.
Yeah.
Okay.